jump in and join us. All right, good afternoon, everyone. For anyone just jumping in, happy Thursday. All right, I'm feeling like going a little slower and stretchier today. We've been kind of stepping it up the last few weeks, but I think a variety is good. So I might slow it down a little bit today. Still lots of moving and flowing, but a little slower pace. So go ahead and start to settle in. Find a comfortable position on your mat. You know the drill by now. You've all been doing this. So really starting the class however it is you like to start the class. It could be in a chair. It could be lying down, seated, does not matter. The important thing is that you are creating that space between what it was you were doing even just a minute or two ago before you turned your computer on and what you're going to be doing now. You know, I talk about this a lot virtually, but we lose that transition time, that getting in our car and driving and going to a studio. You just zap from one thing to the other. So this is your time right now to transition into the next activity, into your yoga practice. So take the time, be really intentional with this time. Go ahead and close your eyes. Start to allow the breath to get a little deeper. Start to pay attention to the breath, first of all. We're obviously breathing all day long, but rarely are we paying attention to it. So start to notice if your breath is really short and shallow, then maybe you want to deepen it a little bit more. If you notice that it's just your chest that's rising and falling, see if you can bring that breath down into your belly. And as you inhale, let that belly expand. And as you exhale, let it contract. So you're bringing that breath into the whole body, not keeping it really superficial and surface right there on top, but drawing it down deep. And as you deepen that breath, feel that calmness that starts to come over the body. Hopefully feeling a little bit of a sense of peace, maybe a little bit quiet, a little bit slower, as you start to set that intention for your practice. We were talking before we started about just yet another crazy thing. We have weather, we have pandemics, we have it all right now. So we come to our mats to get away from it in one hand, but also to help us better be able to handle it, come to a better mental state so that we're able to face whatever it is that's in front of us. So let that guide your intention today. Maybe it's one step at a time, one breath at a time, finding balance, rolling with it, just kind of learning to let go and trust the process. So whenever you have that intention, we're going to slowly start to journey into a full body stretch. So if you're not lying down already, start to make your way onto your back. If you are on your back already, just start to reach your arms over your head, straighten out the legs if they were bent. Big full body stretch as you wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe you roll your ankles and your wrists. You can even take a little movement from side to side. Sometimes that feels good to kind of reach the right fingertips really far and then reach the left fingertips really far. And then on the next inhale, we're going to start to draw the right knee in towards us, wrapping our arms around our shins. So give yourself a little hug. You can either just draw that right knee in towards you, almost like you're bringing the knee towards your elbow or your shoulder. Or you can move it a little bit if it feels good to rock from side to side or make circles with that knee. You can kind of decide what feels good for you. And then on the next inhale, we're going to bend the left knee, straighten the right knee up towards the ceiling. So go ahead and lift that right leg up towards the ceiling. The left leg is bent. As you exhale, slowly start to draw that right foot back down towards the mat. And we're just going to move that leg up and down a couple times. So each time you inhale, that leg lifts up. Each time you exhale, flex the foot, draw the leg back down. Doing that a couple times with your breath. So really just moving it at a pace that feels comfortable for you. And then the next time you lift the leg, go ahead and bring your hands behind that right thigh. You can either massage the back of the thigh, the back of the calf, maybe even lifting your head up off the mat as you draw your nose towards your knee, bending the knee and straightening it if that feels good. And then taking that right foot, place the right knee on, or the right foot on the left knee. Bring your arms to a T, so your arms are extending at either side of you. And then just start to let the hips rock from side to side. So that right foot releases towards the mat, and then the right knee releases towards the mat. Just a gentle side to side movement, creating a nice little twist in the spine. And then as you start to come back through center, that left leg is going to lift up off the mat. Interlace your hands behind the left leg. As you draw the left leg towards you, create a nice little opening in the right hip. You can even press the right knee away from you. So this is the same stretch we do when we're on our stomachs at the end of class in our pigeon, except that we're on our back. So different way of getting into that same pose. Both feet are flexed as you draw that left knee towards you. And then just gently start to place the right leg back on the mat. Continue to draw the left knee in towards you. And then same thing as we did on the other side. Take any movement that feels good. So you can start to circle that left hip. You can rock the knee from side to side, or you can just work on hugging that knee in towards you. Drawing that left knee towards the shoulder. Feeling that spine start to press into the mat. And then starting to bend the right knee, place the right foot on the mat as you extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and start to raise and lower that left foot. As you inhale, point the toe, lift it up. As you exhale, flex the foot, bring it back down towards the mat. Taking a couple rounds just like this, lifting and lowering through that leg. The next time the leg lifts, the arms come behind the leg, the hands interlace around the calf or the shin. Start to massage any parts of that leg that feel like they could use a little more opening, a little more attention. You can bend and straighten the leg, roll out the ankle. Walk your hands up the leg to kind of draw the nose towards the knee. And then let's start to come back into that little supine pigeon or reclined pigeon pose. So the left foot comes to the right knee. Bring your arms out to that T shape again, and then just gently rock the hips from side to side, letting the knee release towards the mat. And then the foot, you don't have to actually touch. The idea is that you're just letting the hips rock from side to side a little bit, enough so that you can get a little twist through the spine. And then as you come back through center, that right leg will start to lift up off the mat. Hands interlace behind the right thigh, flexing through the feet as you draw that right knee towards you. Maybe you bend and straighten the right leg a little bit. Maybe you rock from side to side. Or maybe you stay still. So that's the beauty of this practice. You can kind of play around with different options, see what feels best for you, and then trust that that's really what you want to be doing, because that is what your body needs to do. So slowly release that left foot from the right knee. Hug both knees in towards you, and then take a couple rocks forwards and backwards as you start to make your way all the way up to a seated position. Go ahead and cross your legs once you arrive in that seat. Slide a pillow or a blanket under your hips if that feels comfortable. Rock side to side as you settle in through the hips. The eyes can close for a moment as you just sort of settle in here, sitting up a little taller, the shoulders relax down and back, that spine lengthens, the top of the head lifts up. Feel yourself growing an inch. And then slowly, keeping the spine long, just let the head release forward. So your neck is releasing forward, the back is straight, And then just gently allow the head to make full circles, rolling the neck all the way around in one direction. Option to bring your hands to the neck and kind of massage the shoulders and the upper back if that feels comfortable, or the hands can remain on the knees or in the lap. Maybe you pause at a certain spot that feels good or feels like it needs a little deeper stretch. Going back in the opposite direction if you haven't already. And then as you complete the circle that you're on, start to come back through center again, lifting that head up nice and tall. The chin is parallel to the ground. Take a breath in and roll the shoulders forwards and up. And as you exhale, let them release down the back. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, draw the shoulders forwards and up. Exhale, let them roll back. 1 more time with your breath. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, release. Bringing your hands to your knees if they're not there already. We're going to start to circle the upper body. So beginning to bring your chest forward and around and some big circles with that upper body. Go ahead and move at a pace that feels comfortable with you, in a direction that feels comfortable with you. Maybe pushing the hands into the knees a little bit to deepen that stretch. It's really allowing the body to kind of just have fun, just kind of move a little bit. We're stiff a lot of the time, so just kind of let that spine move. And then as you start to complete the circle that you're on, you can slowly make your way back through center. Again, sitting up nice and tall. Take a breath in as you reach the arms overhead. As you exhale, the left fingertips come to the mat. The right fingertips start to reach to the side of the mat. So you're pressing that right hip down, lengthening through the right side of the body, getting really nice and long, looking under that right arm towards the ceiling. On the next inhale, start to lift it all the way back up. Get really nice and tall as you relax the shoulders. As you exhale, right hand comes to the mat. Left fingertips start to reach to the side. So you're bringing your left shoulder towards your ear, pressing down through that left hip, and then think of one long line up your hip, up the arm, all the way to the fingertips. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up through center. As you exhale, start to walk the hands out in front of you, folding forward. Coming as far into this as it feels comfortable. So just slowly start to walk the hands away from the body little by little until you start to feel that resistance and you start to feel it like that's enough. Your body's kind of like, all right, we're good here. You're going to pause there and you're just going to take a couple breaths. And each time you breathe, think about lengthening the spine on the inhale. Maybe you even sit up a little bit to lengthen that spine. And then as you exhale, fold just a little bit further forward. And see if you can do that a few more times. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. And that's how we come deeper into poses. We do them often. That's one way. But also breathing into the poses. So using that breath to bring you just a little further than you were before. And then slowly starting to walk the hands back towards the body as you press back up to a seated position, coming into a butterfly with the soles of the feet together. Your hands can interlace under the toes, kind of around with how close you bring the feet to you. Take a breath as you sit up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, start to fold forward as you press the elbows into the shins, drawing the chest towards the toes. And again, using that breath here, maybe even try that same little movement where you inhale and lengthen the spine, and then you exhale and fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. On the next inhale, slowly starting to lift all the way back up. We're going to extend the right leg long, bringing the left foot into the right inner thigh. Flex those right toes so that right foot is really active. As you inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, fold over the right leg. And then you're going to do whatever feels good here. So if that means bending that knee a lot, you can do that. If that means using the hands to kind of massage out any of those muscles in that right leg, you can do that. Your hands can rest on the mat or on your shin, your foot, wherever it feels comfortable. And then think about that lengthening and breathing again. Inhale, lengthens the spine. Exhale, helps you fold forward. So always coming back to your breath in each pose. It's a great way to come deeper into the poses. It's also a great way to remain present when your mind starts to wander. Just keep thinking about that breath. And it's a little more challenging to get distracted if you're paying attention to the breath. On the next inhale, you can slowly start to lift all the way back up through seated position. The left foot's going to come to the outside of the right knee. So crossing that left foot over the right leg. Left hand comes to the side of the body. As you inhale, right fingertips lift up. As you exhale, twist to the left. Hooking that right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Take a deep breath in as you sit up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, twist. Think about starting that twist from the base of the spine all the way up through the shoulder blades. The whole spine is twisting. And then let's slowly unravel, coming into the opposite direction just for a breath. The left elbow comes to the left knee as you twist to the right. And again, slowly coming back through center. Extend both legs long. You can kind of tap the bottoms of the feet on the mat or the bottoms of the legs a little bit, shake it out. And then we'll start to take it over to the other side. So the right foot comes into the left inner thigh. Flex through the left toes. As you inhale, lift it up, reach the arms over your head. As you exhale, fold it forward, taking any movement that feels good here, bending that knee, massaging the leg, maybe even rolling the ankle a little bit. Or just coming into stillness. Maybe you find a spot that feels good and you're just going to stay right there and take a couple breaths. That is great too. And on the next inhale, slowly starting to lift it all the way back up, lifting the upper body. As you take that right foot, bring it to the outside of the left knee. The right hand comes to the side of the body. The left arm lifts up, create that length. And then as you exhale, twist to the right, hooking that left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Take a breath in and sit up a little taller. And then exhale, twist a little further. And then slowly starting to unravel that, coming back to the left just for a breath. The right elbow hooks on the right knee, looking over that left shoulder. And coming back through center, extend both legs. You kind of tap the backs of the legs on the mat one more time, and then start to make your way into a tabletop position. So coming onto your hands and knees. Wrists are below the shoulders, knees are below the hips. That spine is really long and straight. And then go ahead and start to move through your cat and cow. So the inhale releases the stomach down, the gaze goes up. The exhale rounds the back, presses the ground away from you. Almost like there's a string between the shoulder blades pulling it up. And then go ahead and continue to move just like this. Inhale, lifts the chest. Exhale, arches the back, presses the ground away. Adding on anything that might feel good. If your hips are a little tight, sometimes rocking them from side to side feels good. Shaking your head, yes or no, if the neck or shoulders feels a little tight. Just let that spine kind of move. And then starting to complete the round that you're on, making your way back to that tabletop position. We're gonna lift the right arm, probably about parallel to the ground. It doesn't need to be super high to start. And then you're gonna start to slide that right arm under the left arm. We're gonna do this 2 more times. So as you inhale, start to lift the right arm back up, maybe a little higher than parallel to the ground this time. As you exhale, slide that right arm under the left again. And then one last time, bigger yet, right arm lifts up. And then exhale, start to slide that right arm under the left. This time we're gonna stay here. So start to bring the right shoulder towards the mat. The right ear is coming towards the mat. Once that right shoulder is on the mat, the left fingertips can start to walk out in front of you. So the idea is that our weight is coming into that right shoulder. You're kind of releasing some of that pressure, some of that tightness in the upper back and neck. Allowing yourself to just kind of release into that right shoulder. And then slowly starting to walk that left hand back under the left shoulder. As you press the hand into the mat, we're going to peel the right arm back up again, lift it, and then go ahead and bring that right hand down to the mat. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So on the next inhale, that left arm comes about parallel to the ground. And then go ahead and slide the left arm under the right hand. Inhale as you lift it up, maybe a little higher. Exhale, slide that left arm under the right. Inhale, lift it up. And one more time as you exhale, slide it under. I think that was 3, but I lost count. If it wasn't, go ahead and do one more. And then start to settle in on that left shoulder. So we're bringing the left shoulder to the mat. And then eventually the right fingertips start to walk out in front. So the weight is coming down into that left shoulder, getting a nice stretch in between the shoulder blades. And then slowly starting to walk that right arm back under the right shoulder. As you press the right hand into the mat, the left arm peels up. And then go ahead and place that left hand down on the mat next to the right. Kind of shake out the hips a little bit as you reset. And then we're going to make our way into our first downward facing dog. So when you're ready, go ahead and tuck the toes, straighten the legs, send the hips up and back, and settle into your first down dog of your practice. Maybe the first down dog of the day or the first one in a couple days. So just start to notice how it feels, lifting up your heels and then pressing them back down, bending your knees, kind of like you're bringing your stomach to your thighs, and then straighten the legs. Rock the hips from side to side. Shake your head yes and no. And then on the next inhale, let's roll it forward into a plank position, drawing the shoulders over the wrist. Tuck that tailbone under, nice straight line with the body. We're going to bring our knees down to the mat and then slowly, kind of like a reverse push-up, lower your stomach all the way down onto the mat. Your hands are under your shoulders. And on the next inhale, press it up into a baby cobra. So the hands are lifting up off the mat, the shoulder blades are pressing together, that chest and heart are lifting. And then go ahead and press your hands into the mat. Just for a breath, we're going to make our way into a child's pose. So the hips come up and back. We won't be here too long yet. So just for one breath, find that child's pose. And then you're going to immediately make your way back into your downward facing dog. So the toes tuck again, the legs straighten, the hips send up and back as that spine gets a little longer. And then on the next inhale, roll it back to that plank, checking that alignment. Core is nice and strong as it supports the whole body, really. And then again, we're going to bring the knees down onto the mat as you lower the stomach all the way down, hands under the shoulders. On the next inhale, we're going to lift it up into any cobra that you like. So you can do that baby cobra again with the hands lifted, or you can press your hands into the mat and lift the upper body a little more. If you're lifting up, just be mindful of your back. Think about lengthening the spine versus compressing it. So we don't want all those little discs at the base of the back to kind of compress. You want to think about lifting and lengthening. That might mean you don't lift up as high. That's okay. And then slowly lowering yourself down, make your way back to your child's pose. And this time we'll hang out here for about 5 breaths or so. So take your time to settle yourself in with the toes together, the knees are apart. Your hands can be walking towards the top of the mat if you like them there. You can stack your hands on top of each other, make a little pillow for your head, or you can bring your fingertips to the sides of your body so your fingers are next to your toes. See which option feels best for you. You can close your eyes. You can come back to your breath. So just kind of counting those breaths. See if you can take those really long, slow, full breaths that we talked about. Maybe you think about that intention that you set. And then if your hands aren't at the top of the mat already, we're going to slowly start to walk the hands back towards the top of the mat as you begin to make your way back into a downward facing dog. So the toes are tucking, the legs are straightening, the hips press up and back. Take your gaze so that you're looking towards your fingers, and then you're going to start to walk the feet towards the top of the mat. You can take as many steps as you like. Feet are about hips width distance apart. And then taking a forward fold that feels good for you. So some options would be holding onto the elbows, rocking the upper body side to side. Maybe bringing your hands to the base of your neck or the back of your head and sort of drawing the head down towards the mat. The knees can be bent if that feels good. Just letting that upper body become heavy. So thinking about gravity, just kind of doing the work here for you. You're just sort of hanging like a rag doll. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we're going to start to lift it all the way up. So think about peeling that spine up as you inhale. The arms start to reach up overhead once you come to standing. Maybe a little back bend if that feels comfortable. You're going to start to walk the feet together. Interlace your hands, keeping the pointer fingers pointing up towards the sky. Take a breath in as you get taller. As you exhale, lean over to the left side so that you're getting a nice stretch on the whole right side of the body. Trying to keep the body in a nice line. So like if you were sandwiched between two things, the body is nice and straight. You're not leaning forward or leaning back. You're just leaning to the side. On the next inhale, take it back up through center. Get a little taller. Exhale, use that length to bend a little further. This time stretching to the left side of the body. You can roll that left shoulder open, look under that left arm towards the ceiling. Nice deep breath here. And then slowly start to take it back up through center. We're gonna bring our arms into a cactus pose, bending the elbows to either side of the body, and then start to bring the hands together, keeping that little bend. The right elbow is going to come on top of the left. The backs of the hands are together. Take a breath in as you lift your arms up towards the ceiling. You can either stay like this, or if this doesn't feel comfortable, bring your hands to your shoulders and give yourself a little hug. Either option, same stretch. So take a breath in as you exhale, fold forward. So either your fingertips are reaching down towards the mat, or if you're giving yourself that hug, your elbows are kind of reaching down towards the mat. But either way, you're using that stretch to, again, get into the shoulder blades and draw them apart, create a little space in that upper back, release some of that tension and tightness that we often hold in our upper back. And then slowly unraveling the arms on the next inhale, lift it all the way up, reach your arms overhead, arms come right back to that cactus, so bending the elbows to either side of you. This time, as you bring them in front of you, the left elbow comes on top of the right. So opposite of what we did last time. You can give yourself that hug if you like, or keep the hands twisted in front of the body. Take a breath in as you lift up. As you exhale, bend it forward again. Sometimes it feels good to move a little bit, rock the hips from side to side, or rock the shoulders back and forth. And then go ahead and unravel the arms on the next inhale again. Peel the upper body all the way up. Reach the arms overhead, little back bend. And then the hands are going to interlace behind the tailbone. So bring the hands behind the body. Hold your hands like you're holding your hand. Take a breath in as you puff up the chest. Work on pressing the palms together. They're probably not all the way together, but keep thinking about pressing them towards each other. As you inhale, lift up through the heart, the chest. As you exhale, fold it forward one last time. Continue to work on pressing those palms together, bending the knees as much as you like here. Kind of rock the shoulders from side to side a little bit if that feels good. And then we're going to go ahead and release the arms, bringing them to the mat in front of you. And then you're going to step the left foot back. So we're coming to a low lunge here. From your low lunge, that left knee is going to come down, untuck the toes. As you exhale, press the hips back, straighten through that right leg as you fold over the right leg. On the next inhale, you're going to come forward, press the hips forward, lift up through the upper body. And we've done this one before, so go ahead and start to move just like this. Exhaling, extending it back. Inhale, start to lift and lengthen through the upper body. Take a couple more rounds just like this. Maybe pausing in either position if that feels good. If you feel like you need a little more breath. Or maybe continuing to flow if that helps you create that nice opening in the hip. But the idea when you come forward is that you're working on pressing that left hip down towards the mat. The next time you come forward, let's make our way into our Anjaneyasana, our crescent lunge. So continue to press the hips down, and then you can start to walk the upper body up, bringing your hands either to your knees or reaching them up towards the sky as you relax the shoulders. Take your knees up towards your hands. Nice deep breath in through the nose. And then slowly starting to bring your hands down to frame out that right foot. We're going to tuck the left toes, straighten that left leg. And then the left foot is going to step up halfway, so to the center of your mat. Your feet are maybe 2 or 3 feet apart. This is our pyramid pose, or Parsvottanasana in Sanskrit. You're going to take a breath in, lengthen the spine a little bit, and then as you exhale, fold over that right leg. You can bend that right knee as much as you need here. It's okay to have that little bend there. Try to draw the left hip forward so that your hips are squared off and you're not pressing the right hip forward and the left hip back. You kind of want them even. The ground feels really far away. This is a great pose to grab blocks, or even you can have your hands on the back of a chair. That's fine, or the seat of a chair. Anything to kind of bring the ground a little closer to you. And then we're all going to come back to that forward fold. So the left foot is going to step up to meet the right. Bring your hands to your shins as you take a little halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. And then as you exhale, fold forward. And we're going to step the right foot back to meet the left. So low lunge on the left side. That right knee comes down, untuck those toes. Exhale, send the hips back. And start to move just like that. As you inhale, draw the hips forward, lift up through the upper body. As you exhale, press the hips back, lengthen through that left leg. Think about really warming up the hips here. That's what we're doing. We're kind of oiling them up or warming them up so that they can move a little easier and come a little deeper into the next pose. Next time you come forward, we'll start to make our way into Anjaneyasana. So the hips press forward maybe a little further than before. Hands can come to the knees or reach them all the way up towards the ceiling. Relax the shoulders, take that gaze up. And again, think about lengthening the spine. So same thing as I was saying in that cobra. We don't want to just be leaning back a lot to compress the spine. We want to be lifting up. And then as you lift up, you might naturally lean back a little bit, and that's okay. But really work on creating more length than back bend. And then slowly go ahead and bring your hands to frame out that left foot. Tuck the right toes as you straighten that right leg. Let's come back to that pyramid pose by stepping the right foot to the center of your mat. So the left foot's at the top, the right foot is at the center. Take a halfway lift as you lengthen the spine on inhale. And then on exhale, you'll fold over that left leg. Pressing that left hip back, draw that right hip forward. And then the right foot steps up to meet the left, back to that forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins, take a little halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. On the next inhale, let's lift it all the way back up. Reach the arms overhead. And exhale, hands can come to the sides of the body. Good. All right, from a standing position, we're going to take the right arm across the body. Use the left arm to kind of hug the right arm in. So you're sort of creating a little shelf to hold that right arm on. We're trying to stretch out the back of that right bicep and shoulder and all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of rock side to side. You can kind of massage the back of the arm, whatever feels good. Go ahead and do that for a minute as you give that arm a little bit of love. And then we're going to take the right arm overhead. You're going to bend the elbow, bring that right hand right to your shoulder blades. The left hand is going to just gently press down on that right shoulder. So relaxing through your shoulders. Try to stand up nice and tall, tucking the tailbone under. If this feels good and you want to stay right here, you can. If you want to add on, you're going to take that left hand behind the body and start to reach the left arm up, working the fingertips towards each other. The fingertips do not have to actually be touching. That is not the point. The point is that we're opening up through the front of the body. So work on standing up really nice and tall, relaxing the shoulders, and breathing, because often we force ourselves into these positions that cause us to hunch over and hold our breath, and that's not what we want. We want a nice open chest and heart. If you have a belt or a strap, you can hold it in your right hand and kind of hang it and then grab it with the left hand, or you can hold on to the back of your shirt if your fingertips aren't touching. And then just slowly start to release the arms. You can kind of circle them out a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So that left arm starts to hug across the body. Use the right arm to hug it in. You can use the right hand to sort of massage the back of the arm a little bit if that feels good. And then let's take that left arm up overhead. Bend the left elbow as you just gently use the right hand to guide that left elbow down to deepen that stretch a little bit. Again, the shoulders relax. Try to bring the ears right towards the shoulders right towards the ears, so that you're kind of standing up nice and tall, the tailbone tucked. And then if you want to reach that right arm behind the body, you're going to go ahead and bring that right hand behind the back and start to slide it up a little bit. This is one of the poses where it becomes really obvious that we're not even on both sides. You might notice it in all the poses, but for me, at least in this one particularly, I notice this side feels much tighter than the other side. And that's totally normal. Normal wear and tear of life makes us uneven on both sides, and that's okay. Still breathing into this. See what kind of space you create when you breathe. You might take a deep breath and then realize, oh, I can stand up a little taller. Oh, I can reach my fingers a little bit closer. And then go ahead and slowly release that again. You can kind of circle the shoulders and the arms and just sort of let all of that go. And then we're going to take a moment to come into a Tadasana pose. So find a nice firm stance with your feet, maybe about hips width distance apart. You kind of rock forwards and backwards, or pick each foot up and then slowly place it back down on the mat. Let your eyes gently close. Feel your legs get really long and tall, so the legs are supporting you. That tailbone is gently tucking under. Feel yourself stand up a little taller as you make that gentle shift. Feel that spine lengthening. Feel yourself get a little taller as you lengthen the spine. Your arms are softly resting at the sides of your body. And if you're swaying a little bit back and forth or side to side, that's okay. Because we're strong and we're mountains, but we're also flexible. You can move a little bit. Take a breath in and draw the shoulders up towards your ears. And then as you exhale, let the shoulders release down the back. Feel yourself get a little taller again. And then last but not least, bring the chin so that it's parallel to the ground if you felt like you were leaning forward, or maybe you didn't even realize you were leaning forward until you started to lift your chin. Feel the top of the head reaching towards the sky. Notice that you get even taller. We're going to take really 2 good cleansing breaths here now that we're standing in this great alignment. So on the next inhale, take a deep breath into the nose. As you exhale, let it all go. Do one more just like that in your own time. Inhale in deeply through the nose, feel that expansion in the stomach. And then as you exhale, let it all go. Maybe exhale a little longer than you feel like you can, pressing all that air back out. And then slowly go ahead and open your eyes, coming back to the top of the mat if you weren't there already. We're going to inhale, lift the arms up overhead. As you exhale, nice big swan dive to forward fold. Your hands are coming to the mat. And we're going to step it back to our downward facing dog. So go ahead and walk the feet to the back of the mat, coming back to your downward facing dog. Take the gaze towards the thighs. The hips are pressing up and back. That spine is lengthening. We're going to just count about 3 breaths here. Maybe you continue to move a little bit, or maybe you start to find some stillness. And then from here, we're going to start to make our way into a tabletop position. So go ahead and lower the knees down onto the mat. Untuck the toes. You kind of rock the hips from side to side, or maybe move through a little cat and cow if that feels comfortable for you. And then we're going to extend the right leg, keeping the toes tucked so that right foot is tucked on the mat. And then go ahead and start to press yourself forwards and backwards. So using the toe to kind of press yourself forward and then press that heel back. Go ahead and take a couple movements just like that, stretching through the bottom of the foot and the back of the leg. And then as you start to come back through center, lifting that right leg up, point the toes towards the back of the room. We're gonna lift the left fingertips. So opposite arm and opposite leg are lifted. Use your core to stabilize you here. If this feels like more of a challenge than you want, keep your left hand on the mat and just lift the leg. That's fine as well. So you decide. On the next inhale, you're gonna draw your nose and your knee together, your elbow if that hand is lifted, or if the hand is on the mat, then just the nose and the knee. And exhale, extend everything long. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, draw everything into center, round that back. Exhale, extend it long. And 1 more time. Inhale, draw it to center. Exhale, extend it long. We're going to put that left hand back down on the mat if it was lifted and start to make your way into a modified side plank by sliding the left foot off the mat. The right foot comes to the back left corner. The right fingertips start to reach to the top of the mat. So the right shoulder is kind of by your right ear. You're getting really nice and long on the right side of the body. Press the hips up as you lengthen. And then start to make some circles with that right arm, really getting into the shoulder blade there, the whole shoulder socket, as big as you can. And going back in the opposite direction. And then slowly starting to close it off as you bring the right hand back down to the mat, you bring the right knee back down to the mat, kind of shake your hips out from side to side a little bit. And we'll start to take it over to the other side by extending the left leg long, keeping the toes on the mat as we start to press forwards and backwards, stretching through the bottom of that left foot. And as you come back through center, that left leg lifts, point the toes towards the back of the room, and you decide if you're doing just the leg, then you're gonna stay here, or you're gonna lift the right hand, opposite arm and opposite leg. As you inhale, draw everything in through center. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more times with your breath. Inhale, draw it in. Exhale, extend it long. See if you can keep everything that's not moving still. Your core is stabilizing you. Go ahead and take that 3rd one. And just the knee and the arm are moving, and the head. And go ahead and bring that right hand back down to the mat. We'll take that left side plank so the right foot slides off the mat. Left foot grounds down. Left fingertips start to reach towards the top of the mat. So you're getting really long on the left side of the body, pressing that left hip up. Feel that space in between your ribs, under your arm. As you look up towards the ceiling, and then start to circle that left arm. Taking a couple circles in one direction, and then going back in the opposite direction. And then slowly coming back through center, back to your tabletop, and then back to your downward facing dog. So go ahead and tuck the toes, straighten the legs, finding that downward facing dog. And on the next inhale, take your gaze towards your hands, start to walk the feet towards the top of the mat, coming back to your forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins as you take a little halfway lift. As you exhale, fold. On the next inhale, let's lift it all the way up, reach the arms overhead, little back bend. And exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Again, we're gonna step that left foot back, coming back to that low lunge at the top of your mat. Your left hand is gonna stay down. The right arm is gonna start to lift up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze towards that right hand as you roll the shoulder open and back. And then slowly placing the right hand back down on the mat. We're gonna start to pivot to the left side of your mat. So starting to walk your hands over to the left, coming to a wide-legged fold on the left side. So you're kind of shimmying so that you're facing that left side of your mat. And then just start to take any movement that feels good here. You can bend your knees from side to side. You can walk your hands to one leg and then the other leg. Sort of play around, seeing what feels good. And then slowly starting to walk your hands back to frame out that right foot, coming back to that low lunge at the top of your mat. From here, the left foot is going to step up to meet the right, forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins, halfway lift as you inhale. As you exhale, fold. And then that right foot is going to step back, low lunge. Right hand stays down, and the left arm is going to peel up towards the sky. Take your gaze towards that left hand as you roll that shoulder open and back. Nice deep breath in. And then slowly placing that left hand back down on the mat. This time we're going to start to walk the hands over to the right side. Same thing, coming to that wide-legged forward fold on the right side of your mat this time. So maybe this time you do something different. You can hold on to opposite elbows and hang like a rag doll. You can walk your hands really far in front of you, really far behind you. And you can move a lot or you can stay still. And then we're going to start to walk our hands back to frame out that left foot. So low lunge at the top of your mat. The right foot steps back up to meet the left. Bring your hands to your shins, little halfway lift as you inhale. As you exhale, fold. We're going to bring our hands to the mat and step it back to your downward facing dog. This is just our transition. We're eventually going to come to a seated position. So from your down dog, you can come onto your knees or just lower yourself all the way down into a seated position. However you get there, it's fine. Your legs are going to be extended long in front of you. So kind of rock the hips from side to side as you flex through the bottoms of the feet. We're going to do our pigeon in a seated position today. So we did it on our back. Now we're going to do it from a seated position rather than on our stomach. So your hands are at the sides of your body. You're going to take that right foot, place it on top of the left leg. Both feet are really flexed. The left toes are flexed. The right toes are flexed. If you're feeling this in your hips, you're going to stay right here. If you're not feeling it yet, that left foot comes to the mat. And then you just continue to walk the left foot towards you or kind of slide the hips towards the foot until you eventually feel it.
Work on keeping that spine as straight as you can, so you can kind of use your hands behind you to sort of prop up the spine, keep it nice and tall. And then you can let your eyes close. We're just going to hold this for about 5 breaths. And then slowly starting to slide that left foot back down on the mat. If it was bent, extend the right leg long, shake out the legs a little bit, tap the backs of the legs on the mat. And then we're going to take that left foot to the right knee. So kind of like an upside down figure 4. That's how I like to describe it. Your hands are to the side of your body. Both feet are really flexed. And then same thing as the other side. If you're feeling this in your hip already, you just kind of sit here, maybe put a little weight from your hand on that left knee. If you're not feeling it yet, right foot comes to the mat. And then just continue to work the hips and heel towards each other until you do start to feel it. This is another one where you'll notice a lot of difference from one side to the other. If it feels good, you can kind of rock the hips a little bit. You don't have to stay still, but keep thinking about that spine nice and straight. And your breath. When you feel that tightness, start to take deeper breaths. Allow it to kind of get in there and create that space wherever it is that it's tight. And then slowly sliding that right foot back down onto the mat, extending the left foot onto the mat. Shake from side to side a little bit, tapping the backs of the legs on the mat. Bring the feet so that they're at the top of your mat. Extend your arms long. And then one vertebrae at a time. You're going to start to slide it all the way down, coming onto your back, finding a nice big full body stretch once you arrive. Inhale into the nose. Exhale out the mouth as you let it go. And then start to make your way into, we're going to come into a bridge pose. So we're going to bend our knees. Bring your feet to the base of your spine. Your hands can come to the sides of your body. And then on the next inhale, you're going to start to lift the hips up, pressing them up towards the ceiling. Either keep your hands pressing into the mat, or you can start to slide your shoulders under you and interlace your hands under your tailbone. So whichever feels appropriate or comfortable. You can also kind of support your hips with your hands if you're looking for something more supportive, or even a block. If you have a block or a book at home, and you want to slide that right on the base of your spine, called a supported bridge. It's kind of nice as another option because it allows you to completely let go, just kind of completely relax into that prop. Here, we're obviously engaged a little more. You're using your core, you're using your own body strength to hold yourself up. But if you have that prop, you can get the back bend in another way. So slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we'll start to peel the spine back down onto the mat. Once the tailbone touches, you can just let your knees rock from side to side, getting a nice little twist in the spine. And then slowly start to draw your knees in towards you. Give yourself a hug as you wrap your arms around your shins. Be lifting your head up towards the knees. Bring your forehead right to your head or to your knees. And then slowly placing the head back down on the mat. Let's start to come into our inversion. So as always, if you're by a wall, you can extend your legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall or you don't want to use the wall, legs can just reach right up towards the ceiling. Your hands can either be behind the thighs to support the legs, or they can come under your tailbone so that you're kind of sitting on your hands, whichever feels more comfortable, because if you're not using your hands, it is a little challenging to just keep the feet floating up in the air. So find a way to do it in a little more comfortable way. We're going to hold this for about 7 to 10 breaths. So again, you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. You can Count those breaths. See if you can let the breath start to slow down even more as you start to come towards the end of the class. Just allow yourself to settle. And then slowly starting to draw the knees back in towards the body. Give yourself one more little hug. And then extend your arms long to either side. Let the knees release over to the right side for one final twist. The shoulders are pressing down towards the mat. You can take your gaze towards the left so that you're looking away from the shoulders, or you can keep looking up towards the ceiling. The eyes can start to close. And then on the next inhale, slowly starting to draw the knees back through center, and then over to the left side. Really casual, so just kind of letting the legs land where they will. You don't have to force anything or do anything that's not comfortable. It should feel comfortable, so if it doesn't, make some adjustments, whatever that might mean for you. And then slowly starting to draw the knees back through center one last time, taking a little scan of the body. Notice if there's anything else you still need, maybe another little stretch or a twist or a bend, or some sort of props like a sip of water or a blanket or something. And then once you've done whatever you need to do, start to transition into your Shavasana. So that might mean extending your legs long right here on your back. That might mean turning onto your side or even sitting up. Doesn't matter where you end, just like it doesn't matter where you start, but go ahead and take this time to be intentional about choosing your last pose of the practice, your last pose of the evening. And then when you're ready, you can start to settle in there. Maybe take a deep breath in and exhale it out. The eyes can close if they're not already. The body starts to become heavy as you completely let go, completely surrender. Allowing the earth to kind of cradle you, so you're not holding yourself up. You're trusting that you're fully supported here on your mat. Just allow yourself to just be here for a few minutes in Shavasana. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Just gently starting to bring a little bit of movement to your fingers and your toes. Rolling out the wrists and the ankles. And taking a stretch that feels good. That could be bending the knees if they were straight or straightening them if they were bent. Reaching the arms overhead. And then maybe turning over onto your side if that feels comfortable. Otherwise, just stay right where you are for one more moment. Take these last few moments here on your mat to say thank you to yourself for making a commitment to do something that's so good for you, taking this time out of your day to take care of yourself. Say thank you. If you're not there already, you can slowly start to make your way back up to a seated position, gently pressing your hands into the mat as you begin to lift the upper body up. Your eyes can stay closed or close them again once you come to a seat, bringing your hands to heart center. As always, I am so grateful for all of you for joining me, for bringing that light and that energy with you through the computer virtually. It is felt. I hope you have the most beautiful evening, a great weekend ahead. So I see you all next Thursday. Namaste.